XRP has been climbing, and I know what a lot of people are thinking right now. Is this it? Is this the breakout we've been waiting for? But before we jump to these God candle conclusions, I want to slow this down and look at what's actually happening with the chart because this move is real and it is not utility pricing yet. What we're here seeing right now is positioning, sentiment, and the market getting comfortable with holding XRP at higher prices right now. So today, let's talk about how high. I cannot talk today. Sorry. So today, let's talk about how high is realistic and what could confirm an actual real continuation. So we're going to do what we always do. We're going to hop into the price. We're going to cover what's happening right now in the price. We're going to talk about what's going on with the ETFs, what's been being pulled into the ETF trust, the new news that's going on right now. And I really want to focus on the price and the breakout and what's actually happening within the scheme of things. So we don't usually spend a whole lot of time in the chart, but today is different because price is pumping, right? Everyone's excited for the price to be pumping. So we're going to hop into that right now. I see you in there, Raul. Thank you for joining me. I had a kind of a messed up start this morning. I don't know why I'm having issues talking today. Miss Wendy's in the house. So I'm going to hop into the chart and we're going to cover everything. And we're going to talk about how high this price is actually going to go. So let's go ahead and hop into the chart. If I could get it. There it goes. All right. So right now we're looking at the 1 week chart. Let me get to the 1 hour chart because I am going to touch on the 1 week chart in the scheme of things as far as what's happening. So right now we are pumping. We are at 220.7 right now. Now in previous streams, we were talking about first leg was 195. We wanted to hold that for support, flipped it, tested it, and we did that. And from there, we said 220 was the next leg. We literally just crossed 220 as I was getting this started. So we're at 220.9 right now. We need to flip over 220 and hold it to give us a position for the next leg. So 220 is going to be our new support. We're at 221, 221.1. It's just climbing right now, 12. So it's going back and forth. So we're climbing right now. We need to hold 220. So expect us to come back and retest. If we hold 220, that's going to open us up to the next leg of this. And that's what I really want to cover because I think that's where the excitement really can be. So in order to do that, in order to see what the next leg could potentially be, we need to change our chart. We need to go out further. We need to look at the 1 week chart. So let's go to the 1 week chart. Now we talk about EMA 9. And here's how I draw these conclusions, okay? For those of you who watch my streams, you know I don't spend a lot of time in the chart, but I'm going to do some analysis right now because the breakout is important, right? So how high can we go? So we're on the 1 week chart now. We are testing EMA 9. If I zoom in here, this is the EMA 9 on the 1 week chart. You can see we've pushed through it. We need to maintain this with volume and we need to hold past this for the week. So we need to close the week above EMA 9 and then hold it the following week. Why is this important? If you look at how XRP moves, right, it typically spends a longer time consolidating with larger moves up in comparison to the rest of the crypto market. So just as far as technical analysis goes, we're not talking about utility or anything. We're just solely talking about technical analysis right now. So on the EMA 9, previously, the way XRP moves is it crosses over, and if it maintains it, then it has these large gaps. It has these large spikes. And the longer it consolidates, the farther it moves. This was a large consolidation trend. We are now passing through EMA 9. If we flip this and hold it, then we open ourselves up to a couple weeks of this. So how high could that go? That is the question. So if this move continues, in the past, it's been roughly about a 4 to 5x. So is it going to explode? We don't know, but we need to pay attention to the legs of it. So the next leg is holding 220. Next, beyond that would be pushing through 270. If we get it pushed through 270, all-time highs are on the table because at that point, we're looking at momentum. At that point, we're looking at all kinds of things. And I know I'm just briefly doing the technical analysis because I want everyone to understand where this is coming from and what I expect to happen. So I usually base my news analysis and everything based off one theory. Well, we've bounced through that first leg of the theory that I was talking about. So we have EMA 9, we have the weekly chart we're pushing through. That would open us up to a repricing. How far will that repricing go? Based on past history, that would open us up to potentially a 4 to 5x. Now, we have talked about in our math model a 20 to 40% increase based on our technical analysis and supply, right? This is what we've discussed prior. We've been saying that a 20 to 40% increase is imminent. Well, if we're looking at XRP in the grand scheme of things, let's see what's actually happened. So if we get back into the grand scheme of things, we said a 20 to 40% increase was imminent. We're at an 18.8% increase and we just passed through 220. That tells me, based on our math and supply math, everything is adding up with what we were talking about. Now, granted, the entire crypto market is up for the week, but when you're talking about the supply levels of XRP, the buying and selling pressure, the volume, all of the things combined, it is all lining up. So I expect this to continue for XRP. I expect us to hold 220 and see the second leg of that 20 to 40% increase we were talking about, which if we were to get another 20% increase from here, that would put us at roughly 260 to 270, which is exactly where all the levels are lining up on the analysis. So math model is aligning with technical analysis. So we should see this climb to 270 and test 270. And if we break through 270, then that 290 to 320 repricing model comes in line. So truthfully, within the next week or two, I do think we could see a retest of $3. Again, we have to maintain 220 and continue the push. But every analysis we have done to this point over the last 3 months has led us here, right? The ETF math, the supply model, 20 to 40% increase lines up here. The macroeconomic catalyst, the tailwinds lines up here. So basically, I'm not trying to create a domino effect, if you will, but all the different things that we were pointing out have converged into this one point in time that align with the chart. So it's very, very exciting times. I think this month is going to be great, not only for crypto, but I think it's going to be especially great for XRP as we watch how this move plays out. But let's take a look at ETFs. Unfortunately, I had to restart my computer this weekend, so it already updated it when I set everything up. So current levels as it stands right now, Franklin Templeton has 123 million XRP in trust. Grayscale has 122 million. So that puts us at 245 million. Let's add them up together. So we're at 245 total plus another 175. So that puts us at 420. So 420 million. Bitwise with 132 million. So that would put us up to what? That would put us up to, I said 420. So that puts us up to 552. And then 552 million plus an additional 136 million. So 552 plus 136 is 600 plus another 36. So 688 million roughly off of my head math for ETF trusts. Not a bad start, and volume is through the roof today. Everything is pushing right now. So the ETF volume, I want to say, I pulled it up on X. I follow a couple people on X, and you can follow me on X as well. There's like 30 million in volume in the first. I mean, everything is going crazy right now. But as far as the ETFs go, it was like I retweeted it. I can't even find my retweets. I don't even know how to do this crap half the time. But it was like 30 million in volume in the first 10 minutes of the markets going live this morning. So right now the markets are just completely pumping. A lot of it is in reference to the Venezuela stuff that's coming out. This is the first chance that markets are having to react to new inflation data. PMI data came out as well. So the entire market is craving risk on assets. And don't forget, this is the first real week institutions are live. Let me get out of here real quick. Don't forget, this is the first real week that institutions are live as well after the holiday. So after all the tax selling at the end of the year, now institutions are ramping up. This is the first real week. So there's a lot of money re-entering the market. We have the quote unquote stealth quantitative easing. There's more liquidity getting pumped into the market by our government. So it's going, I mean, right now it's just a euphoric time in the markets. How long will it continue? We're about to find out. But the entire sentiment, and I wanted to point this out, I'm going to bring up some news here that's coming out right now. And for those of you who've been here a while, you're going to completely understand this. So the sentiment is starting to change as all of this is happening, right? Now that price is going up, people are feeling better. But we're also getting a lot more certainty in the markets as far as what was happening on a macroeconomic scale. With all of that converging at the same time, I think it's funny now that we're starting to see a lot of these articles. And by I say a lot of these articles, this one's a little bit different, but tiny price, huge move. 4.8 million XRP bought on Upbit for 0.02 cents. These clickbait titles are freaking hilarious. But basically what they're saying is someone made a $4.8 million XRP purchase on Upbit and removed it from Upbit, and they only had to pay 2 cents to move the money on the XRP ledger. So be warned of your clickbait titles. Coin paper is one of the worst for that. And again, I'm just wanting to call that out for you all. But moving on, now that price is going up, right? Now we're going to start seeing all these articles. XRP breaks $2.12 as shrinking exchange supply lead to price squeeze higher. We talked about the shrinking supply months ago, okay? So now they're just bringing this up again now that price is moving. Again, all the things we talked about months ago and we were saying months ago, I should pull up, I really should pull up the past streams and do a clip from it where I said, because I remember vividly saying, when the price starts to go up, we're going to know it's from what we're talking about right now. When we were talking about everything going on while the price was dropping and all the positive fundamentals and everything that was happening and everyone's saying XRP is trash and crypto is a scam, we were saying that we're going to know now when price goes up, it was from what we were talking about now. And that was months ago. That's why we're in this from the long view. These articles that everyone is releasing now saying price is going up because of this or that or this or that is stuff we talked about forever ago. Price is going up with the market right now, but we have to look at the levels of how XRP moves. And that's why we were going into the chart analysis to kind of get an idea of what we can expect to happen, because it's not being pushed based off of news. This isn't utility. This isn't adoption driven. It's none of that. This is the market now starting to get an appetite for buying again. And you can see that with the fear and greed index right here. We're up to a neutral now. We still have a lot of room to go here. We're not even in the green yet. But for months, we were looking at this when it was all the way down to a 4. And we were talking about that was when XRP was, obviously sub $2. It was down in that $1.80 chopping range when we were saying $1.75 was the floor. So all of this has been happening months ago. And now the market's finally reacting to it. And so now that all that liquidity was cleared out all the way down, we're starting to see larger moves up as we continue to move up throughout the stream. We're at 221.7 now and climbing. So I want to see this hold 220. And once it holds 220, again, I believe it will based on all of the things we've discussed. So once we hold 220, bounce off 220 and continue up, we're flipping this EMA. If we flip this EMA and move to another positive week, as you can see how XRP moves, right? Once we get that movement, it moves fast. Am I saying it's going to shoot up to a 4 or 5x? No, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I do believe we're going to see $3 test this month. Maybe within a week or two, depending on how aggressively this decides to appreciate and reprice itself, depending on the liquidity that comes in. But I feel comfortable saying, we never know what the market's going to do. Aliens could come out tomorrow. But based on all the technical analysis, all of the supply math, all of the positive tailwinds that we've had up to this point, I feel confident saying we are going to appreciate and test $3 very soon. So that's where I'm at with this right now. Again, I could be wrong. But if you have been with me for the last few months, we've been buying all the way down to the $1.77 level. So if you have been in this for months now, you're pretty happy with this appreciation to this point. And again, we're not talking about a God candle, right? This is not utility and adoption. This is just market structure right now. Okay. It's important to keep that in mind. My opinion, not financial advice. And again, nothing in these videos is ever financial advice. It's always my opinion. I am not a financial advisor. You need to do your own research, and I will be the first person to tell you to do your own research. But without further ado, let's answer the chat. And again, if you guys have thoughts, opinions, please put them in the chat. We're going to go through all of it. Today is a great day to be an XRP holder, and I'm going to hang out here and party with you guys for a while. We are going to enjoy the good vibes. We're going to keep the energy up. And let me, you know what? I see that a couple of you have put where you're from. I want to know where everyone is from. If you're in the stream right now, let me know where you're from. Let's start with that. And I'm going to answer the questions and comments that I already have in the stream right now, and then we'll go through and do a recap. But keep the chat going. Let's have some fun today. Raul said, good afternoon. I appreciate you being here, Raul. Miss Wendy stopped by today. Todd Madison made it in. Perfect. Thank you, Todd. Thank you for joining. Miss Wendy says she's finally in profit. It feels good, doesn't it? It feels good when number goes up. Everyone loves it when number goes up, right? We feel good. We like to see green. Green is good. I got my green shirt on today. I'm ready for y'all. Resident said hello to everyone. Welcome, welcome. Honda Village said you lost me at technical analysis. I try not to go too deep into the technical analysis, but it is important as far as describing how the market structure is going to move, because it doesn't just move when it feels like, I wish it would move when we liked it to and move in the way we would like it to, but we have to play within the constrictions of the big billionaires that move the markets. So unfortunately, so it's important to at least have a slight understanding so we know what to expect, I feel like. So I'm trying not to overdo it with the technical analysis today, Mr. Honda Village. Or Hyundai Village. George Evans says, how is everything going? It's all quite exciting. Everything's going great today, George. Numbers up. Everyone is happy, right? Numbers up. Everyone's happy. People are watching YouTube. Videos on, views on shorts are up because everyone's watching YouTube, wanting to figure out what's going on. And unfortunately, all my videos that explained what happened a couple months ago are not going to be seen. But I was actually thinking about doing like a greatest hits short reel thing, like take like 5 or 6 of my shorts and put them into like a 2 or 3 short video to try and explain what's happening right now. I thought that might be fun. Let's see here. Stephen Haynes said, do you think this is an XRP push or is it just rising because Bitcoin is rising? Okay, I'll point this out. I do think the overall crypto market is rising, but important distinction, right? So when we look at the overall crypto market, let's take a look. So this is for the week, right? This is kind of what we're paying attention to. So for the week, XRP is up 19%, Bitcoin's up 7%. So yes, it's moving with Bitcoin, but there were a couple times, because you guys know a lot of times I will check Bitcoin versus XRP when we're seeing a move. But there was a couple points, and again, it's too early to tell, but there was a couple points where XRP was up like 2 or 3% while Bitcoin was down 2 or 3%, which I thought was really interesting. Institutionally, I'm going to be curious to see what the inflows look like this week into ETFs for Bitcoin, Ethereum versus XRP and things like that too. Because remember, we don't feel ETF inflows in the actual price in the market until like 3 or 4 weeks later, once all the buying takes place. So like a lot of the XRP ETF, the first, how we saw them start with like 21 shares started with 100 million XRP. So that buying pressure was happening beforehand, right? They were ramping up for that. So now that they were already ramped up and they started buying, so that's why you have to wait like 3 or 4 weeks to see where things are at before they start really going out and accumulating more again. And we've been in a bear market. So again, that follows with the supply math as well. So right now, I would say I'm pretty confident that it's just the overall market, but XRP is definitely moving stronger than Bitcoin and Ethereum. If we want to look at it by, market cap, yeah, Bitcoin is everything's still following Bitcoin though. Yeshua said, hello, everyone. Do you think we're not going back down because of Venezuela oil conflict? and they are saying Cuba is next and maybe Mexico as well. Well, I mean, let's look at this in a macro sense then. Okay, so I mean, we can try to predict if it's going to go up or down. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Trump comes out and sneezes and the market goes down, and he comes out and says hooray and the market goes up. So I think it's safe to say we can expect volatility. So because of that, I think it's actually safer to say we can expect volatility than it would be safer to say we're not going to go down. But we need to pay attention to the levels, right? So right now, it's important that we hold 220. After that, it's important that if we do lose 220, it's important that we hold 195. And if we lose 195, it's important that we hold 175. Regardless of the news, that's where the buying and selling pressure is happening. That's also how you could see a potential decoupling from Bitcoin, right? We have bad news, Bitcoin falls, but XRP has support here and doesn't maybe fall as much. And then we get good news, XRP rises high. You see what I'm saying? So like this, it takes time. We're not going to see God candle spikes. I would love to say we're not going to fall, but we don't know what the macro news will hold. We could get some terrible jobs data in a couple weeks, and it completely unrelated to XRP. That's why we do our research and know what we hold, because until real utility and adoption happens, remember, this move has nothing to do with utility, has nothing to do with adoption. So there's like no payments volume stabilizing this price right now. So until we get real utility and adoption, this price can still very much go up and down. We're in a volatile time right now, so be prepared for that. My opinion, not financial advice. Hopefully that answers your question, Yeshua. Eric said, hello, XRP brother from Sweden. Welcome from Sweden, Eric. Appreciate you taking time out of your day to be here. King Drew says he loves seeing people in profit again. Congratulations. Yeah, and I think I really do think there's going to be a lot more people in profit this month. If you've been buying the dip and you've been buying through this, decline down to the $1.77 range, I think we are going to see $3 next. Again, my opinion, not financial advice, but based on all of the indicators that we've been tracking for the last few months, both in technical analysis, supply math, macroeconomic tailwinds, everything combining at the same time, I do believe we are going to see an appreciation to $3, potentially beyond it. But that 290 to 320 mark was the last place we saw real holding pressure, right? That's where we sold off. So we need to see what the order books look like when we get to the 290, 320 mark. Are people going to sell off again in that level? So again, not financial advice, but that's what I'm paying attention to. So we've cleared out all this liquidity down to this point. So I think we're going to come up and retest that 290 to 320 area and see if we sell. If we hold that, then it opens up to the next leg of that, 1 week chart that we were looking at. So moving on, let me see what else we got in here. Let's see. So yeah, lots of people in profit, and I think we're going to have a lot more people in profit in the near future. But again, know what you hold, do your own research, my opinion. Quelly joining us. Haven't seen you in a while, Quelly. Thanks for joining the stream. Appreciate you taking time to be here. Zeta's in the house. I see you, Zeta. Thank you very much. Kevin Hawthorne is in here. He's been hopping around recently. Good afternoon. He's from Lakeland, Florida. Three Brothers said hello and happy Monday. It is Monday. Happy Monday, everyone. I love Monday streams too. Monday streams are always, much more energy. I think everyone's ready to, come on and talk and see what the markets are going to do. And be honest with you, I miss you guys on the weekends. I have started streaming Saturday, so that helps. But I miss coming on here and talking with you guys because, usually on the weekends, I just have comments from the shorts, and most of those are why price not moon, or whatever else. Most of them are negative comments from people not watching the video and just want to hate on XRP. That is the life we live as YouTubers, though, right? All I can do is try to lead them to water. I can't make them drink. Crypto Roger said, so glad I got more at $1.86. Yeah, I remember you calling that out right in stream, Roger, saying you just bought, what was it? Like 400 more or something like that at $1.86. So good for you. Congratulate. You're enjoying this pump drastically right now. Raul says, I'm about the only person that's mad about price going up because you didn't get to buy more, Raul. I know how that feels. I wish I could have bought more than I did when it was under $2. My last purchase in all fairness was at 203. That was when I actually put it on my channel in the community page because that's where I ran out of funds. For those of you who don't know, I'm on disability right now, and positive news, actually, believe it or not. I was approved for my long-term disability. That is done. So I don't have to worry about that stressing me out anymore. So I'm good for several months now, and I am working on my LLC. I should have that done this week is the goal, so I can turn on memberships and monetization for everyone, hopefully next week. But it will be this month. I need to get the LLC up and running first so I can put everything to the tax ID. But I will be starting memberships this month and turning on the activity this month for you all. I appreciate all of you for joining me every day and helping me grow this channel. Hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this out far and wide. Let's continue to grow it. But it's all thanks to you guys, and I appreciate it. So that will be coming this month. I appreciate it. Everything. I couldn't be happier with it, honestly. It's very surprising that I started this not knowing what I was going to do while I was on disability, and now it is forming into potentially full-time job transfer for me. We'll see how it goes over the next few months if we continue to grow like we have been. But it's very humbling, and thank you, all of you. But enough of that mushy stuff. Let me get back into this here. So appreciate you all. Eric's from Sweden. Todd Madison from Atlanta, Georgia. Okay. DM Dowd in the house from Nashville, Tennessee. Haven't seen you in a while, DM. Thank you for joining me. Stephen Haynes from New Braunfels, Texas. Okay. Lurcho, Columbia, Tennessee. All right. Columbia, Tennessee. I've done a lot of work. Well, I used to do a lot of work when I was working with freight around Chattanooga, Tennessee, as far as sending a lot of trucks that way. So I'm familiar with that area. Chattanooga, Knoxville, West Memphis, Arkansas, Memphis, Tennessee, all those areas. I did a lot of work around that area. Miss Wendy says, don't we still need to decouple from Bitcoin? I love the pump, but don't trust the longevity of it. I 1,000,000% agree with you, Miss Wendy, and I will do a recap for those of you who missed it. This is not a utility pump, okay? This price is not us decoupling. That's not what this is. This is just market getting used to the idea of buying again, and we have cleared out all the liquidity, and now people are buying, and all the headlines and all of the things we've been talking about the past few months while price is going down is now being priced in. They're determining what the new value of XRP is, essentially before utility turns on. That's what I believe we are seeing right now. So I do believe, based on liquidity, based on ETF math, and based on everything we've discussed, and I will do a recap for everyone who's come in late, but that's why I do believe we're going to see a test of $3 here this month. Again, my opinion, not financial advice. Sorry, I hit the mic. All right. So yes, Miss Wendy, I fully agree with you. Resident said last time XRP broke $3, it didn't stay there long. When it breaks $3 again, do you think it will blow past it, or will XRP start facing resistance? Okay, so this is a great time in the chat for me to go ahead and hop into the recap, actually. So let me hop into the recap so we can all get on the same page again of where we are with price. So lovely to see we're up to 222.4 right now. Let me move the chat box on a different screen here. So we're up to 222.3 now. Price is still going up. Let's talk about what to expect and why. Okay, why do I think, I have receipts, why do I think we're going to see $3? So the last time we saw $3 was in the 290 to 320 area. And we were there. That's where we had immense amounts of selling, right? That's where all the selling volume was, right over here. So right in this area, all this selling volume. And then the last time we dropped with a large amount of selling volume was this 220 area. That's what we're reclaiming right now. So we want to see where we dropped with volume versus what we're reclaiming. So when we're looking at the 1 week chart, the last time we had real major selling volume was at this 220 level. We are breaking that right now. So we are going to clear up all of this liquidity as we move up to the last major selling area, which was right here, $3. This was October. This is where we had the big liquidity event. So we're going to come here and we're going to come up to $3 and we're going to test and see. Now, if this liquidity event is clear and we don't have any more selling pressure at the $3, then we could see another move up, which would be in line. If you look back over here at the moves that XRP had in 2017, or what year was that? Excuse me, in 2024, right? So that would line up with 2024 and, previous other issues where it's gone up massively in previous years, right? This spike right here, it moves. And so XRP does not move like traditional crypto. It seems to chop longer and have more volatile spikes. So if we clear $3 and hold it this month, look at this kind of momentum we would be talking about. That would just be constant green candles, a lot like we saw back here. So if we get a move like this, absolutely, we could see new all-time highs if the momentum and FOMO and everything catches on. But really what we need to see is if we can hold this 220 and then hold $3. If we do hold $3, then we have a chance to go to new all-time highs. If we don't, then we'll come back and retest 270, 220 because it's not utility based. We don't have the payments volume and utility to hold it up here. Again, my opinion, not financial advice, but why do I think this move? It's not just based on chart analysis, right? This is the 1 week chart. If we go to a 1 hour chart, which is the one that we usually follow, we are up here in price discovery and it is not giving up. And if you look right here, right? So let's look at where this price was at this moment in time. So at this moment in time, price was at 216 at 70 RSI. So let's go back over last time it was over here. So last time it was at 70 RSI, price was at 213. So price is rising while RSI is cooling. That is a bullish divergence. We are above EMA. We are maintaining the positive uptrend. So on the 1 hour chart, we were maintaining the positive uptrend. On the 1 week chart, when we pull it back, it shows us, again, back to it. When we pull it back, it shows us we still have room for this movement. 1 week chart is not overbought. It's actually kind of cooling and tilting out sideways a little bit. So if we claim this and rehold it, it does leave us room for a volatile spike, but we need to retest 220, beat 270, and then 290, 320 area. If we can beat those, it does open us up to all-time highs. We'll see what kind of momentum we get. This buying volume today is fantastic. If this trend continues, this could happen a lot faster than people anticipated, but we will see how it plays out. Now, we have more than one indicator. We have more than a price chart. We have been building this for months. This is our ETF supply model. Based on the ETF supply model, at the end of December, we were predicting a 20 to 40% price increase was imminent. Looks like we just got that. We're up 20%. If we get the other 20%, then it's going to move to roughly the 270 line that we were calling out. So the supply math model lines up directly with the resistance lines that we are calling out in here. So if we get the rest of this pump, goes up to 270. Now, also, the supply math model called for another 20 to 40% pump in 4 to 8 weeks from the original one. So if this continues to increase over the next couple weeks, we could see another 20 to 40% pump, which would line up with the all-time highs theory. So I think we're going to see a strong retest at $3. January is going to be a fantastic month. It's going to be an exciting month, my opinion, not financial advice. We also covered all of the ETFs. It did go up. I didn't have the ability to refresh it. I did the head math. I don't want to do it again, but I want to say it was like 688 million XRP currently being held in 5 ETF trusts. We have more ETFs coming. We have index ETFs coming. It is getting spicy this January, everyone. XRP scan. I didn't talk about it before the recap, but account set activity is still continuing. Okay. It has not. So the reason this is important. So account set activity is accounts coming on, accounts getting ready to start processing on XRP ledger. That does not mean they will be using XRP on that. They could be using RLUSD. Again, we've talked about wanting to see things like an RL yen and RL euro, things we can switch between. But the more assets that come onto the ledger, the more value there will be for XRP to pair with. That is what's going to drive it. So I have been talking ad nauseum about this spike in account set activity, and it is not slowing down. If we look at this account set activity, There we go. Let me pull it up there for you. If we look at this account set activity, it is still continuing. I've been calling this out since the beginning of November when the spike started. But since the beginning of November to now, this is consistent activity. But not only is it consistent activity, it is higher than the entire XRP ledger combined. So there has been more account set activity in 2 months than the history of the XRP ledger. What we should see is this start to, once things come online, this should start to translate to increased payment activity. So this is the indicator, the constant activity is the indicator that this should be increasing soon. And if you look at from December 20th to now, it has been ramping up slowly. Now, again, it was higher back over here, but we also had pilots, things like that going on. So we're still waiting on clarity. Again, big piece of this can be clarity and institutional adoption. We need clarity. That innovation exemption from the SEC is going to be good too. We're also talking about news. Okay. First, if you want to follow me on X, you can. It's Longview Crypto. I repost, I follow CNBC, I follow Washington Post, I follow a lot of the big, more prominent people on X as well. A lot of people like Smokey's right there. He actually just followed me too, which was kind of cool. I didn't realize that I was starting to get more people following me here, but I've got some decently sized people on X starting to follow me. I think it's pretty cool. And then we covered the fear and greed index up to a neutral now. We're at 47 after being down at a period of like 4 and 6 back in December. This is a mighty big change and it is only increasing. All of that to be said right now, we are almost to 224 and climbing, and I am going to get back into the chat. I appreciate you all taking time out of your day to be here with me. Let me pull the chat over here and see what everyone has to say. I left off with Resident asking about the last time XRP broke $3. So that's what sent us into the recap. Abdul said, for short term, 6 months or so, XRP or silver. I'm leaning XRP, especially since silver just had a massive run up already. I'm leaning XRP. I think it has more room for appreciation, but that's just me. I hold both. I'm not buying anything else right now. Far Maximus said, good afternoon from the Lou. All right. The better side of Big Mo. I have to disagree. I've been to St. Louis a couple times, man. I was not impressed, but we can do the St. Louis Kansas City rivalry. Far Maximus says, looks like my $3 prediction for end of the month is looking good, brother. You're right. I remember you called that out in stream like a week ago or a couple days ago, actually, when I was asking people their predictions. He did say $3 by end of January. And it looks like that is going to line up perfectly. Todd Madison said ETH up 1.6%, Bitcoin up 2.7%, XRP up 5.89% today. So big gains for XRP, but it had room to recover. I don't want to call a decoupling too early. I'd rather be late and right than early and wrong when it comes to calling the decoupling anyway. But I do think it's a potential possibility, especially with, don't forget, there's a potential for DAT reclassifications on January 15th. That would hurt Bitcoin. There's a lot of things up in the air in January that can change things. I think it's going to be a very exciting month, to say the least. Quelly said, I don't know if you've ever mentioned, what is your background regarding finance? How did you learn all of this? So my background regarding finance, I have been in crypto since 2019. And to tell you the truth, I learned a lot by losing. Not just in crypto, but I learned a lot of hard lessons my entire life. I got married young, way too young, and that person had credit card issues and spending problems, which ended up putting me into bankruptcy before I even turned 30 years old. I worked my butt off and started building up money and was unfortunately put into debt again by 2017. And at 2017, I started studying finance. I started getting my now ex-spouse's debt situation under control, got myself completely out of debt by 2019 and started investing in crypto and self-taught on everything. Then I started messing with day trading, taught myself technical analysis. And also, too, my father owned a business when I was growing up. I was involved a lot in that. So I knew about taxes and I knew about buying and selling at the end of the year and the beginning of the year just from being around those people and being in those rooms with those people for so long, listening them complain about the millions they had to spend in taxes or how their tax advisor screwed them on this or that. Sometimes just being in those rooms will teach you a world that you have no idea about because that stuff's not taught in school. It's not. Uh, and then anyway, then I've been working in I've been a freight broker, so I've been working as a freight broker for the last decade, where I've seen economics fall out firsthand because the actual economic market follows the freight market. You can see it actually in the cost of freight prices before the rest of the world sees it. When freight prices start escalating, believe it or not, when things start getting more expensive to ship, the economy is about to go up. It's crazy. But when things start plummeting, the economy is about to go down. And ironically enough, a few months ago, the cost of freight started increasing. It's just funny how that works. And then on top of that, since I had multiple strokes. I had multiple strokes back in June, or not June. My brain, man. I've had multiple strokes back in August of 2022, and I can't work a normal job anymore. So I've dove into my passion, which is crypto and investing, and I've been studying it, researching it. I'm working on my Series 65 so I can be a licensed financial advisor. We're also working on my Series 63 for insurance as well. I'm just diving into the things I believe in right now. So really, that's where all of this information is coming from, and I'll be the first one to tell you to do your own research and take everything with a grain of salt. Far Maximus says, I bought 1,500 at $1.88. Good for you. Good for you. You're seeing some nice returns right now. Raul said, that's great news for you. 100%. Yes, it is great news. You guys are referring to when I said earlier about the long-term disability thing being through. So it is, it's great news, man. There's a lot of pressure relieved for sure. Dry powder said, I wish there were 2 like buttons for me to hit. I appreciate y'all. Yeah. If you guys appreciate the content, if you like the content, please hit the like button, engage, leave, chat, leave a comment, like the video, watch the video. That's the best thing you can do is watch the video. The more people watch, the better it is. Raul said he got some at 205. Was my last buy. I'm broke now for a week. That happens. But again, we're here for the long view. We dollar cost average in. We do what we can when we can. There's no perfect system for everyone, but we're here to take all the information and create the best system for the individual, you as an individual. And I'm just trying to hopefully make you guys think about it a little bit differently, because a lot of people come into YouTube for hype and then they get burned out, and then hopefully they find me and we can teach them a different way. Three Brothers said, if banks and institutions are starting using XRP, do you think the price should be higher? If they're using it, I do think it should be higher, but they're not using it. They're using the XRP ledger, right? But we'll see if they're using XRP in the payments, right? That's how we can, it's visible for everyone to see. So if we actually pull up the payments, you can see the payment activity. So if we see this payment activity start spiking, you bet your sweet butt that price is going to start spiking. Okay. So what we're seeing now is we're seeing the account set activity spiking. Again, look here for the history of the ledger. Look what's happening versus what's happened in the history of the ledger. We're seeing this spike. If you want, you can go back and look at the history of the ledger for account set spikes versus account set payments, right? Or versus payments, right? You can see spike here. If it shows up, yeah, you can see a spike here and payments. Did that correlate with account sets? Let's see. Did it correlate with account set spike? Right? So usually account sets prelude payments. So when we see payments increase, price will start increasing next. My opinion, not financial advice, but those are the indicators I'm looking at when it comes to utility for that matter. Where did my chat bar go? Did I lose my chat bar? Oh no. Where'd it go? Where'd the chat go? I hope I didn't exit out of it. Oh, there it is. Okay, I found it. Longview Crypto LLC. Yeah, That's actually what I'm going to change to. I'm going to be changing the channel name to Longview Crypto. So it'll be Longview Crypto LLC. That's exactly right. Jabez said hello from the Netherlands. We got the Netherlands in the house. I answered Three Brothers question. Okay. XRP ETF daily volume already at 43 million. Yeah, I mean, it's everything is pumping right now. That was to be expected. ETF volume is going to surge today. I mean, it's only 12:47, so we got 2 hours left. If we can get over 60 or 70 million, that would be fantastic. I think we might actually get higher than that. Yeshua said, is the Clarity Act voted on the 15th of January? They said that's when they're going to revisit it, is the 15th of January. And also there's a potential DAT reclassification on the 15th of January. So January is going to be a big month, but it's supposed to be discussed again on the 15th of January. So hopefully this month we have clarity, we have an understanding of the DAT reclassifications, and we have a better understanding of what tailwinds we have moving forward. Farm Maximus current inflows today at 44 million. Yeah, it's just rising faster and faster. Resident said, do you know if HBAR is getting any more ETFs? They do have ETFs in the pipelines. And again, I think we'll see a lot of more. I think we're going to see a lot more ETFs and financial tools like that for the crypto space start coming online at the end of Q1, Q2. I think we're going to see a bombardment of digital asset ETFs, like beyond what we can imagine. Probably between like the end of Q1, Q2. My opinion, not financial advice, because when you looked at everything that was being listed in November, December with the SEC, if you actually go in and look at the SEC filings, there's like 122 like things waiting for like being worked on right now. It is a ridiculous amount sitting there backlogged in the SEC. So I do think we're going to see a ton of things, including HBAR. The utility tokens are going to rule 2026. My opinion, not financial advice. Let's see. What kind of strokes did I have? Hemorrhagic or vascular? Oh gosh. Well, I had two different types. So both. I had hemorrhage. I had two vascular strokes in my caudate, and then I had a hemorrhage in the same area, hemorrhagic stroke in the same area, and I also had a gosh, I can't remember what it's called. The other, there's three different types of stroke. I've had all three. Two in my caudate and one in my left frontal lobe. So yeah, it's been an adventure, that's for sure. Richard said, seems like all Jake's predictions were right, just a tad bit early with the timeline. Well, we'll find out, Richard. Again, I don't think it's going to $100 right now, but I would absolutely love to be wrong. I think we're fighting to find $3 again right now. That's what I'm hoping for. My opinion, not financial advice. JJ Neer said, I had an old friend of mine call me hammered on New Year's Eve to tell me about XRP, and watched a couple YouTube videos, ended up buying a bit. Kind of wild that I ended up here. Welcome to the channel. Go through the videos, check out the shorts. Beware of hype. Beware of hype. My channel is about the long view. We're about not just XRP, but what crypto is going to be here for the next 1 year, 5 years, 10 years from now. We're not here for a God candle, but we are here for crypto space that is going to be completely changing the landscape over the next decade. That's what I believe in. My opinion, not financial advice. But welcome to the channel, JJ. Appreciate you finding us. Make sure you hit subscribe, hit the like button, and enjoy yourself. Let's see here. Ian Jar said, for now, it looks like Bitcoin is still leading. The decoupling is coming, but when? Utility. When we see that payments account start rising, that's when we could potentially see a decoupling. When we see the payments on Ledger, right? XRP being used on Ledger, when we see that rising, that's when we can start expecting a potential decoupling, in my opinion. Gunpowder said 225 soon. No doubt. That is certainly coming. We may see that any minute here. Actually, I think it may have just hit it. Let me, what am I got it behind here. Yeah, 225.9 right now. So 226 soon and climbing. Ian says Sean Baker are great people to start your research. Okay. You deserve it. Sean and Baker are great people to start your research. Okay, deserve it. Well, I appreciate that. No, and also too, I've reached out to a couple people. I reached out to Camilla Stevenson and I reached out to Klaus, like you guys asked me to. If there's other YouTubers that you would like to see me collaborate with and work with that are of this same vein, right? That are of the macro crypto, more slow, or not more slow, but more realistic approach, not the God candle not the God candle thing that you're talking about, send them my way. Sean Baker are great people to start your research. You deserve it. 100x better than investment than XRP. I don't know what you're talking about there. I think you might be botting something maybe. Yeshua said, yes, we are here for a God candle. Hey, I would love for it to happen. Steven said, my dog Maui loves your show. Well, I'm glad he likes it. Dogs love me. I will say that. I have 3 dogs and I train dogs. I do really, really well with dogs. So it doesn't surprise me. It's something in the voice, I think. FarmX said, we don't want BTC decoupling until utility enforced with XRP. Right. Well, I mean, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it decoupling as long as XRP is appreciating. I don't want them both decoupling on the way down. But okay, yeah, someone's reading things. Okay, someone's chatting about something else. But they I wish I knew how to kick people out of the chat. Let me see if I can figure that out. Since someone's promoting something else. I don't think it'll let. Do I have to sign in the chat to kick them out? It won't let me. All right. But anyway, that is the end of everything. I've gone through the stream. I've gone through the recap. I've gone through all the information. I appreciate every single one of you for taking time to be here today. You all are amazing. The channel is growing. I appreciate it. Price is growing. We're at 226 and climbing. It's going to be a fantastic week. I'll be back at noon tomorrow. I might even be on tonight if this thing continues to go parabolic. Price is soaring. I love it. I will see you all tomorrow.